Hi everybody, here at Moneyconf 2018 in Dublin. Great to have the Moneyconf back in Dublin. And yeah, they have an interesting poll of the participants. It's the third poll that we're looking at, and it's fascinating. 3 questions. The first question is, what's the future for fintech startups? And as you can see, the participants are very, very unanimous in this. It's quite unusual. They're unanimous that unbundling wins. And what they mean by unbundling means is that the present big monopolies, big banks, big savings and payments monopolies, and banks have a monopoly on these massive parts of our lives for the last 50 or 100 years, that they will basically be disrupted, and that the new players coming into the marketplace, the new fintech companies, both the established fintech companies and new startups, will actually take over from the banks. And I would agree with that absolutely. I'm going to put my red sticker in there. Unbundling absolutely wins. Very few people believe the traditional players will win. Few people believe VC money runs out. A lot of money is going into the space. It's very hot right now. But I think, you know, there will always be VC money coming into the space. Less money may come in, but money will come in. Regulation stops progress. That's interesting, because a lot of people believe that the regulation will stop this and the governments will quench this and protect the existing monopolies. But I think the consensus at the conference is interesting. Even the states, obviously, was the concern that they would be quite aggressive in terms of regulation, but the states and the SEC in particular seem to be taking a more progressive attitude towards regulation. And obviously Singapore and Switzerland and these more progressive nations are already quite liberal in this regard and quite progressive. So there is a belief that regulation is not going to stop the progress that's being made in the fintech sector. Next question is the fintech hub to watch in 2019. You see very much people believe Singapore seems to be the place to be. People are very, very, very positive on Singapore as a fintech hub. And it's interesting because Singapore is actually increasingly a precious metals hub as well, and we store a lot of gold and silver in Singapore with Brinks. And it's obviously they're very, very progressive in terms of the economy and privacy and property rights, and therefore there is a lot of positive sentiment towards Singapore. Silicon Valley, much less so, interestingly enough. London, New York, obviously some people believe London, New York. And there's a lot of people outside here who believe that there'll be other hubs. I think Zug, Crypto Valley outside Zurich is possibly where some of these people are. And hopefully Dublin is developing its own little fintech ecosystem, blockchain ecosystem now, with the Deloitte Blockchain Lab and Laurie Keogh and what those guys are doing in consensus with Joe Lubin. So hopefully Dublin, we can get our own little fintech. And I think with Brexit as well, I think that's likely to happen. We're going to grow our fintech footprint is going to grow, which would be great for Ireland and the Irish economy. The final question is, when was the last time you set foot in your local bank? So it's basically showing how banks are becoming less relevant in our lives day to day. You know, we're going online all the time, and yeah, very few people are in their banks. And yeah, I actually was in a bank last week, but it's the first time I was in a bank in a long time, and I had to go in just for basically AML documents for our company business. So, but that is, as I said, it's quite unusual for me to have been in a bank. So. Before that, it would have been months and months ago, you know. So again, interesting snapshot here at Moneyconf 2018. And yeah, please, in the comments section down below, please tell us what you're thinking about these various questions that the poll participants have answered here today. Thanks, guys.